Hello and welcome to I Do Canals. Karen's not with us today. She got the lurgy that stopped me from videoing a couple of weeks ago, so she's a bit miserable and feeling a bit pathetic. Anyway, today this is Ellesmere Wharf and the basin, and behind us here is one of the last surviving buildings of one of the many metamorphoses of the Ellesmere Canal Company. The Ellesmere Canal Company merged later with the Chester Canal Company to become the Ellesmere and Chester Canal Company. It then later merged again with the Birmingham and Liverpool Junction Canal Company, and then finally again about a year later, and it became the Shropshire Union Railways and Canal Company. Canal companies back then did this a lot. They often found that as the railways encroached in upon their cargo carrying and transporting territory, that their own business wasn't sufficient to sustain them, and they had to merge with other companies to create more financially viable routes and better opportunities. Wasn't always the case. The railways saw an awful lot of them off, and general demise of the canal system itself began, and it spread really rapidly along with the railways. At the end of the wharf up here, we can see there's a nice little bridge up at the far end. We're going up and we'll have a little walk up there in a minute. Is what was the Ellesmere Canal. Today, of course, it's the Llangollen Canal, and it splits in two directions. And going that way is Llangollen. And of course, on the way to there, we've got the Chirk Aqueduct, the Chirk Viaduct, which is adjacent to the aqueduct, Chirk Tunnel. We're going to go through that. There's the Pontcysyllte Aqueduct. Whoa, that's the star of the show. We're going to go and have a good look at that too. But if you go the other way and you head down, you've got two locks over a stretch of some 30 odd miles from Llangollen down to there, called Newmarton Locks. And a little bit further down, you've got Grindley Brook. Now we're going to take a look at Grindley Brook. It's a 3-staircase lock and 3 other locks. It's a very popular spot for tourists and so on, and it's definitely worth a look. Whether you're on a boat or you're on foot, go take a look at that. Today, the basin here is permanent moorers mostly. There are some free mooring spots for non-permanent moorers a little bit further up. There's a little marina up the top there. We're going to take a little peek at that. I think it's called Black Meadows. We'll find that out for certain. And there's a really nice building that we're going to go and see as well. It was designed and built by Thomas Telford. It's called Beach House, and it was built in 1806, so a year after all of this, after the canal was finally finished. Let's go take a look. Here is a brief history of how the Ellesmere Canal was to have looked, and ultimately how it ended up instead. In the late 1700s, the Ellesmere Canal was proposed. I've overlaid the old map document on top of a modern map generated by our website. Maps made almost 230 years ago aren't quite up to the accuracy of modern day maps. Whilst I've aligned Chester and Chirk to the very best of my ability, there are some differences with the rest of the map, so please be tolerant. I'm sure they did their best. 1791, a meeting is held in Ellesmere to discuss the building of the Ellesmere Canal. 1792 and 1793, the initial routes and branches are deposited. In 1793, an Act of Parliament is passed allowing the Ellesmere Canal Company to build the canal. Construction begins a year later in 1794. In 1796, revised plans for the summit route between Pontcysyllte and Chester are deposited. In 1796, the Llangollen branch was opened, linking into the main line at Frankton Junction. In 1797, the Montgomeryshire Canal is opened, joining the Ellesmere Canal at Carrigahoff Locks, apologies for my pronunciation, and the contour section canal from the River Mersey to the River Dee at Chester was joined to the Chester Canal. In 1800, the main north-western route of the canal to Chester beyond Trefor Basin is cancelled, and so is the continuation to Shrewsbury from West Lullingfields. 1801 saw the opening of Chirk Aqueduct, and a year later the Chirk Tunnel is also completed. 1803 the Llangollen feeder line from Horseshoe Falls is proposed by Thomas Telford and completed by 1808. In 1805 the Pontcysyllte Aqueduct opened to great fanfare. 1813 the Ellesmere Canal Company merges with the Chester Canal Company and becomes the Ellesmere and Chester Canal Company. In 1835, the Birmingham and Liverpool Junction Canal is opened, joining Ellesmere and Chester Canals at Nantwich and opening up the canal network to Wolverhampton and the Midlands and the Inland Waterway Network. In 1845, the Ellesmere and Chester Canal Company merged with the Birmingham and Liverpool Junction Canal. A year later, the canal was taken over yet again by the formation of the Shropshire Union Railways and Canal Company. This is about all that remains of the wharf-side machinery, a nice wooden beam crane, sadly no longer working. These blue engineering brick gateposts are one of several sets. There's another couple up here. This is the wider one. And I have no evidence of it, but I suspect that in here was some form of wharf building, a cargo carrying section, or goodness knows what, don't know what. Over here is the supermarket, and clearly that building there, the big building, is what looks like a wharf-side building. I can find nothing about it. I'm going to try and search that supermarket and see if I can find out if it was built into it. It's definitely the old wharf building. I just don't know which one it was. If you know, down in the comments, please. This is the view looking back into the wharf from on top of the footbridge right at the entrance. That's Beach House here on the junction, built by Thomas Telford. And if you were to turn left here at this junction, you go on down towards the Shropshire Union. If you were to turn right, it's Aqueducts and Tunnels and Llangollen. Historic Canal Yard. The sign says that the buildings around the junction were important to the maintenance of these waterways. On the opposite bank is Beach House, which was built by the renowned canal engineer Thomas Telford in 1806. Originally offices for the Ellesmere Canal Company, the building is red brick with dentilled eaves cornice and stunning hip slate roofs. Ellesmere Boatyard. This site has kept its historical links and is still in use today as the operating base for the Canal and River Trust team who look after both the Llangollen and the Montgomery canals. Periodically, the site is open as part of the Ellesmere Festival weekend, and a free water taxi will run you along the canal from near the Tesco store in Ellesmere right here to the site at the yard. Car parking is also available in the field next to the yard on Birch Road. This is Alan Baillie, hard at work on the Rhapsody in Blue, owned by Julie and Martin. Blackwater Meadow Marina provides holiday and dayboat hire, long and short-term moorings, gas, diesel, coal, pump-out, Elsan, water, chandlery and much more. The marina is on the right just before bridge number 58 and are just 100 yards or so short of the Ellesmere Wharf entrance. This is Alistair. We're going down to his boat in a moment and just have a nice chat about what he does. That's his bike on the right. He offered me a lift on the back, and I thought, I've dropped the camera once this week, probably a good idea not to drop it again.
Fantastic.
So is it Alistair?
Alistair?
Alistair.
Yeah, Alistair.
Alistair. Excellent. Bloody hell. So,
yeah, so kind of what happened to me was I had a divorce. Is how I got into boating. I had 120,000, not really a lot to go and buy a house of any sort, so I just started
one of these though, wasn't it?
I went on a canal boating holiday when I was 12 and it just somehow always stuck in my mind.
You never forget those.
Yeah, once. That's all that ever happened in my life, but it's planted the seed and I thought I'll just go and have a look, and then this boat come up and it just all sort of clicked into place for me. And since I've been on the water, I just can't get over the beautiful generosity of the people of the canal,
It's one of the things that gets me. My wife and I, she's not very well today, so this is one of 5 videos that we're making in one hit, and she's not appearing in this one. She's having a bit of a rest. But it's one of the things that gets us wherever we go. Folks like yourself will have a chat, talk about why they like it, or just a general chew the fat. And boats of all kind, whether they're brand spanking or nice restored boats, or the occasional famous one. There's one down there that most people know about.
Persis.
And I just love it. I have all the engineering and all the history and that as well. My wife will say I'm the mouthpiece, right? And I do all of that. But she loves it. And when we're on a boat, there's nothing like it. Absolutely nothing.
It is gorgeous. It's majestic. It's a majestic, beautiful way of travelling through the countryside.
3 miles an hour.
Yeah, and if you like nature, that's how we were designed to travel, to be honest, at 3 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Not at 70 in a car.
You don't see anything.
That's right.
Idiots.
Another nice thing I like doing about this is, as well, I say to a lot of people, when was the last time you took your shoes and socks off and felt the grass between your feet, Beautiful in the summertime.
Ah.
This is so nice.
We were coming up Ordlam Locks. No, going down. This was June 2021. And there's a guy coming up barefoot. And he's on his own. And he's got a single mid rope. And he's working the locks on his Todd. Working through. Nothing on his feet.
Fantastic.
Happy as Larry.
Yeah.
You know, lovely little boat. Clearly his home.
Mhm.
You know, and that's the thing I like about it too. You're not stuck in one place, are you? I know there are lots that more up permanent, but I think the thing I like is you can travel around and you can just beautiful, stunning countryside, and every day is a new spot, and a new front garden, and
Absolutely, yeah, and meet new people, because every time you rock up at a different location, you know, you've got different people to meet, and it's beautiful.
Just about everybody's really nice, aren't they?
Yeah, I've been doing it about 12 months to date, and I've just been on this canal at the moment, the Llangollen Canal. I haven't progressed any further, but because I really like it so much.
Yeah.
It is a beautiful canal.
It is beautiful.
In the summertime, another thing that really struck me is how many foreign visitors we get to do this.
Yeah.
I was talking to a couple, Monica and her husband. They come from Sweden. 7 years they've been doing this. Every
7
year
years?
they come, and they just love it. And the Americans, Australians, New Zealanders, I was staggered. I never really, you know,
Yeah.
we didn't realise what a gem we've got here, you know.
We get some comments on our YouTube channel about folks from America. We had a couple from New Zealand as well. And they all enjoy it. You're absolutely right. They come from
Harrison
far and
Ford's been
wide.
spotted on this canal, you know.
Who was?
Harrison Ford.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Goodness me. When was this?
Holidaying on, he likes to come over here holidaying. You get,
Good for
you
him.
don't ever hear about it. All you hear about
No,
is
no,
the
no.
aftermath. Oh, he was in the pub. You know what I mean? The guy's
Wow.
a superstar, isn't he? You know.
Yeah. Wow.
But
Goodness me.
just incredible. This is the level of beauty we've got and we're dealing with. You know, it's absolutely wonderful.
So tell me what you do. You fix engines as well, don't you?
I do, yeah. I was a mechanic. I've done many things all my life, so I've got multi-skills from a vast range of, from being a potter to brickmaker to builder. I've been in the building trade most of my life. I used to be a power station mechanic, fitter and welder, all sorts. So I've done many things. Motorbikes is my big passion.
Is it? I
And
saw
then-
that on the front of the boat, actually.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of maintenance, and my private passion's motorcycles.
Goodness me. And the boat painting, I mean, clearly there's a bit of work that's yet to happen here at this end. But the other side, that looks great. And I got a nice shot of the bow of your boat there. You can see there's that skull and crossbones that you pointed that out to me.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I'm good friends with the local artist who's on the canal as well. His name's Baillie, and he's quite renowned for his artwork he's done. I don't know, have you seen that? Have you seen the pub up in Wales, up by the Ponty, where he's done the entire...
Oh, the aqueduct.
Yeah, the aqueduct.
He did that?
Yeah, Alan did that.
Oh, my word.
Yeah, I helped
We
Alan
passed
do a
that
bit of-
nearly every day the last week. I'll get a shot of that on
Yeah,
the way
it's
back.
awesome, mate. Alan's a great
He
artist.
did that.
Yeah.
That's stunning.
I've got some of the pre-drawings in there, because most artists don't do any drawings. They have it in their head.
Yeah, of
Alan's the
course.
same. He's freestyle.
Goodness
This
me.
guy's painted in Sri Lanka, in temples.
Go on.
You want to do a piece on him? He's a dude.
I saw him doing a little bit of work. Was the boat called Rhapsody down the other end there? And I could see the finished part, and he was working on another musical note there. And clearly he's putting in, really careful detail.
Absolutely. Alan's been doing it for so long. He brings the fairground, the gypsy caravan. He's done all of it. So he's got all of those broad range, and you see it in his. I'm a connoisseur. I like the best of everything. I see quality.
Yeah.
Alan's the only guy who would paint my boat because I want
Fantastic.
it just his way, with his touch.
Well, so we'll get those two shots, because we'll put them in a minute. So if you're watching, you can see what the before and after. Stunning work.
Yeah,
Beautiful
so
work.
we're sort of in the process. We've got these two panels to finish off, and he's got the front panel to finish off with a little bit more detail. And then these solars are coming off the side. I'm going to have a new set of solars on the roof in the summer, and then there may be a little bit of detail going on these sides. But in these back panels, there's some murals going in. So, touchstone, the only thing that I could think of to bring in, because I used to be an old hippie, and I've slept on top of Stonehenge, believe it or not,
Have you
on
really?
Sarsen Stone, and watched sunrise and sunset. Yeah, back in the days when you could actually.
When you were allowed
do
to,
it.
yeah.
So there's a mural of Stonehenge going on these as well, which will look really, really awesome.
When you get that done, you've got to send me a picture of that.
I will.
That'll be fantastic. We'll put that in the website.
Yeah,
absolutely stunning.
I think you need to put your own. I didn't want to change the boat too much. I've just kept with the colour scheme and just gone for different tones of colour. Like the red was all kind of post office red, and I've gone for a bright red called Alpha Red.
Right.
So you can't really see it on the handrail on this side because I haven't really done this side yet. But yeah, you can. This is Alpha Red, and then on the other side it's almost like a more poppy red. Colours are really important when you do a boat.
Right.
They're very important because if you like this day glow green stripe that I'm covering up here that you see, for example, I mean, look at the fluorescentness of the yellow. It's just completely out of character. It just shouldn't be on the boat. So these lines are going cream.
Right.
So I'm changing them at the moment, the coach line.
Much nicer. So. Wow. When we finally get a boat, my wife and I, we already have a name. It's going to be called Daniel James.
Wonderful.
For a very special reason. We'd have had a little boy of ours. He'd have been 30. October just gone. We lost him when he was very, very young.
Oh.
And so we're going to name the boat in honour of him. And we have a colour scheme, and it's a nice rich blue and a creamy orange that's going to go across the top. And it's pretty much the colour scheme that's on our website as well, and our logos and so on and so forth. We can't wait. If we could set sail in a boat now, we would do it. Absolutely right now. We still got 2 kids at home. That's a hint if you're watching this video, right? 100 quid in a suitcase a piece and off you go. So no, there's not that much pressure. And social services are watching. Look, they're old enough. It's all right. It's fine. But no, it's we're waiting for it. We're wanting it. We really want to get to go. We're working really hard to get the YouTube channel going. I've put in thousands of hours on the website, and the website is now up and running and fully functional. Although I am going to make some tweaks to the drop-down menus on the maps, going to make it easier to use, because we spoke to some folks. It's easy for me when I build it, and I know how it works, but other folks at the first sight, it has to be more obvious, and I hadn't made it obvious. Failure on my part, but, you know, learning. We'll get there. But listen, Alistair, do you know what? I've enjoyed this cup of tea sitting here with you. It's a lovely, lovely afternoon. We got robins and all sorts twittering about us.
Absolutely, it's beautiful.
And it ain't cold. I'm sitting here without a coat on.
That's right.
All week it's been freezing.
It's incredible weather we're having at the moment, isn't it? So mild. It's just beautiful.
The prophet of doom of my wife has said, "Oh, there's more frost coming next week."
Well, so they say.
Whatever happens.
Forecast for Ellesmere here next week is sunshine.
Is it?
Yeah, cold nights, but
we should stay another week then.
Absolutely.
I'm going to go back to work.
It's lovely.
Alistair, absolutely brilliant. Thoroughly enjoyed
meeting
you.
So nice to meet you, Simon. Really nice. I'm so
cracking cup of tea.
Yeah, you're welcome, mate. We'll keep in touch.
This is Bridge 58 on the Llangollen Canal. And through it, and just the other side, is the lovely town of Ellesmere, and the wharf and the basin and all the wharf buildings that go with it. But I think what's made today really, really enjoyable are the people that I've met. We had a great chat with Alistair. Alistair, you're a star. Love to meet you again, guy. It was really fantastic. And I just met 2 chaps, Glenn and Bill, and just generally chewed the fat about canals for a few minutes. And it was so pleasant. It was awesome. There's Alistair's friend, Alan, who does the most incredible artwork on boats. And I'm really going to try my hardest to get a shot of the aqueduct in Pontcysyllte. Actually, it's in the Wrongcysyllte side, and the artwork on the side of the pub. I'm going to try and get that today, if we can. Really, really, really. But this is why we are so interested in the canals and living on a narrowboat and cruising all of the thousands of miles of canals. We can't wait to do it. We'd sail today if we could. But for now, that's it. Hope you've enjoyed watching this one. Watch out for our next videos that are coming up soon. There's aqueducts, there's tunnels, there's awesome engineering and great stories, and hope you enjoy it. So please subscribe to our channel and please hit the like button. And also, one thing we haven't been encouraging people to do very much is leave us a comment. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. Be gentle with us. We are still learning, but give us a shout up in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Thank you very much.